Hi, welcome to the Woodsman's Way. Today we're going to create a charred material for your next fire using a simple Altoids can and a piece of material that you can find in the woods pretty much any time during the winter and sometimes during the summer, so stick around. Before we get our material that we're going to use to make char, first we're going to find a material to build our fire, to get our fire going. I prefer cedar bark, especially in this area. It's typically dry. Even when it's wet, you can shake it out enough to get a good spark to it. It's extremely fibrous, and there's tons of cedar bark here in Missouri. So this is what we're going to use to get our fire going. Collecting cedar bark is pretty simple. Basically just take your knife and scrape down. You're trying to just skim the surface. You don't want a lot of that inner bark, the actual tree bark. You want just that outer bark because that's what's going to have your fine fibers in it. So you just want to continue to scrape down. Try to collect as long of strands as possible and get that yellow stuff inside. That's what's going to be your fire start material. Yeah, there we go. So that's what's going to get your spark or your match or whatever we end up using for our first fire. Alright, I'll continue to process this and get this down, and we'll be right back with you. Alright, so we got our cedar bark all processed from the tree. Now we actually have to process it to get those fine fibers broken out and also get rid of any of the outer bark, which is extremely coarse and just really doesn't catch a spark as well. So basically what you're going to do is, if you cut it in long strands, which is pretty simple to do, you're going to hold it like this, and you're just going to basically rub it back and forth, rub it into it, basically create a bulge in the middle. And the stuff flying off is typically going to be your outer bark, the outermost bark, I should say. Just going to keep working that. When you feel that that centerpiece is all worked out, then you're going to move down to the next work down, and you're just going to keep processing it. Keep working along it. And at one point you might even have to break it up a little bit and fold it around just to try to work into those tighter places where that outermost bark is stuck in. You want to get as much as of that out of there as possible. It's less so if you end up using a match, which that's what we're going to use for our first fire here to create our char material. But if you're using actual char material or ferrocerium rod or something like that, you're going to want to process it down quite a bit because obviously it's bigger stuff and it's not going to catch as well as some of those fine fibers are. And also, it is a messy process, so be prepared to get dirty. Keep working it and working it. Alright, for our match, that looks pretty good. You can see a lot of those fine fibers are already broken out. We have less and less of the outermost bark, so that should catch a match flame pretty well. Let's get that going. Okay, I think you guys can have a good view there. Okay, so we got our tinder bundle. I collected just a small bunch of sticks. It's pretty dry out here, so this plus my larger, more coarse sticks should be enough to get this going. We'll see. I'm living on the edges a little bit. I should have done a little more collection, but you know how that is. Okay, so we'll get our match out. There's this drag here. We're just going to wrap it over like this. Maybe get a little oxygen. There we go. Get a little more. You can see it's pretty dry out here, but obviously the tinder had a little bit of moisture in it. We'll go ahead and lay our sticks on just so it can go ahead and catch as soon as it gets going. Give it a little more oxygen. Alright, got a good fire going. I'll go get some more wood, stoke it up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and make our charred material. So stick around. Alright, so we got our fire going. It's really going good. Okay, so now we need to get our charred material that we're going to char. So when I was walking into the woods, I just looked down at my feet and I had noticed this piece, this piece. Now this piece specifically, because it is moist, and actually if you push on it, it's squishy. That is the key for charred material, especially if you want to use a tree or stick type material, is that it's not quite crumbly, that would be too far, but you want it just enough that it's halfway squishy with moisture. Because the idea of a charred material is that you're taking away all that moisture and you're actually cooking it in a sense to the point, almost to the point of actually creating a spark and actually turning it to a flame, but keeping the oxygen away from it so you don't quite get to that point. So we're going to go ahead and break a piece off of this. Go ahead and process it down a little bit. Get us, that might do, this little piece here. That might do perfectly. Keep that one to the side. And that's the crazy thing about these is, I mean, these are everywhere. Wood that's soppy wet, that's almost to fall apart. I mean, it's everywhere. So it's super easy to get material for your next fire. And one piece, well, that fire's getting a little hot. One piece can do you for several fire starting times. So I'll go ahead and chop this up a little bit and we'll get it in our tin and we'll get it over the fire. Stick around. Alrighty, so we got all our material in here. I got 4 different pieces. It's always good to put a couple different pieces, especially with material you maybe are not familiar with, or maybe this is your first time doing it. It's always good to put a couple different pieces in there just to make sure you get, it just increases the probabilities of success. So we've got this in our Altoids tin. I want to note that there is a hole punched on the top of my Altoids tin that allows all the moisture and steam and stuff to come out. But also keep the fire and flames away from it so it doesn't actually catch fire. So we'll just slide this into the bottom of our fire here. Let it get warmed up. We'll see the steam start coming out the top. We want to make sure that no flame goes down in. We'll want to watch that, make sure it doesn't tip over or anything like that. That steam will come out, and as soon as that steam stops coming out, that's when we know it's good to go. So just a second, we'll watch it, and then I'll let you know when it starts steaming. It's kind of hard to see with the wind as it is because it's blowing those flames, but that is the tin in there. The great thing about those tins, those little bitty tins, is they get so hot so quick. You actually have to watch it to make sure you don't melt the tin down. But as long as you kind of keep it on the outskirts or have a small fire, you should be good to go. So we'll just watch that. Because it's kind of difficult for us to see the steam coming out, we're going to have to kind of just wing it a little bit and maybe take it out a little bit and just check on it to see how it's doing. So. Alrighty, so we're done. Looks like our charred material is looking pretty good. Now, charred material from like bark or wood or other material is going to take a little bit longer than if you just use cotton, obviously, because it is a little bit thicker and denser. So that is something to keep in mind if you need if you're just stopping and need something a little quicker. I would definitely carry cotton just so it's done and over with. This only took probably about, I don't know, definitely inside of 5 minutes. Most definitely inside of 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and get one of these out. We'll get our flint and steel out, and we'll see if we can get a spark to it. Just be back in just a second. All right, so we got our couple pieces of char in here. I just went ahead and put 2. Got a piece of flint. Got our steel. Let's see what we can do. Whoop! Flipped it shut. Set it out here. Nope, thought we had something there. Let's try it again. Get a little sharper edge. here. Yeah, it should be a little better. Oh, okay, we had something that started. Whoop, there we go. Good cop. See if I can get it close enough to the camera. You can see that smolder in there. That is an ember, and that right there will start us a fire quick as quick. All right, well, I appreciate you guys joining me. Just a little quick session on making some charred material with just material you can find just in the woods. Like I said, that material is easier to find during the wintertime because you get some of that moisture in the wood. But still, you can find it even in the summertime, you know, looking by creek beds and things like that. Shouldn't be too hard. So appreciate you guys watching me. Please like, and if you have any comments, suggestions, anything like that, comment below. And share this with your friends, and I'll see you next time on The Woodsman's Way.